Let's talk about cloud storage. So, what's the cloud and how does it have anything to do with storage? Obviously, it's not the sky when we're talking about the cloud. We're not talking about, well, it's a marketing term. We used to refer in the old days, we used to refer to the cloud, I mean, before 2006, the old days, as the internet. Oh, you're going out into the cloud, you're going out to the internet. But this marketing term of the cloud came along around 2006, and that's what we're talking to as these other computers, like somebody else's computer. So when we think about this, Amazon, it's really Amazon Web Services that started what we call the cloud today. They had a lot of engineering challenges being a very popular bookseller and online retailer, and they started figuring out how to make um, their site better for their like massive traffic days, so they could expand capacity when they needed lots of it for big sales, especially Black Friday, and reduce capacity when they didn't need it because computing cost money. You know, every server that you run costs you money to buy it and rack it and update it and everything. So Amazon was figuring out how to build this utility layer. And once they realized how good it was, somebody had the bright idea to say, you know, we could help other companies solve these problems. They could they could pay for these services, and we'll just handle all the storage and everything else that they need. So cloud computing has a few characteristics, and we're getting used to this now, even though most of us in this class remember when it wasn't this way. So, first of all, on demand self service. In the olden days, you had to call IT, or you had to call like the whoever is the IT for your family, or buy a hard drive. But now you want to go buy storage, you go to sync.com, you pay them some money, and you got a terabyte just in seconds. You want to have ubiquitous access. So what's different from the cloud versus how we were computing before is you can access everything from your phone, from your tablet, from your laptop. It's available like around the clock. It's not like when the IT administrator comes into work, they'll turn on the service and then you can access the file share and then they'll turn it off in the evening. That's fine at a corporation, but you know, if we want to have our files or videos stored securely online, we want to have access to them. So another key component of cloud computing is pooling all the resources together. So Amazon can buy thousands of servers and we can pay for a few minutes when we need a server, or they can buy petabytes of storage and we can just pay them for a few gigs here and there for our backups or whatever. And because they're putting so much upfront cost in, they're buying in bulk, they can offer us better prices than if we were to go and spend money on that amount of storage or that server. So another thing, another part of cloud computing is that you can just go big. Like, oh, I need a big powerful computer to do this video project. You just fire up the big computer, you do all the video rendering, and then you turn it off and you pay for the few bucks when you're using it. Maybe you pay $200, but you didn't have to buy a $10,000 server. So this is all some of the benefits of our cloud. You go, oh, I need a 50 gigabytes to do this backup, but now I need 10 terabytes for this project. You just pay for the extra storage, you pay for the extra compute whenever you need it, and it's just there for you. Maybe you have to make business decisions if you're going to be doing business, but for those of us that are just consumers here, we can get 10 terabytes of cloud storage if we want it. It just takes a couple clicks. And the other key is you pay for a certain amount of service or in the case of Amazon, you just pay for what you use. So that's sort of the background of cloud computing. There's some other vendors in the cloud right now, other not just Amazon. There's also Microsoft and Google. So let me get a little feedback from you here. I've got my polls and quizzes. I'm waiting for them to pop up. So it didn't show up. I should pause the recording for a minute. All right, I've just paused the recording because I made the whole poll and it's not here. Yeah. Oh, I never saved the poll. And it looks like my internet connection is unstable. What's going on with that? Everybody's still there, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, oh, I saved that. Where's my, oh, you have unsaved changes. Save it. Something went wrong. Oh no. I had this beautiful 3-question poll and it looks like it's all gone. Oh, son of a gun. Why did that happen? Oh well. I'll resume. We'll have to do the poll. Maybe I'll make the poll brand new over the break. I'll type everything out. All right, let me resume. Well, it looks like our Zoom poll has broken or crashed or didn't save, so we'll come back and do it later after we take a break. Let's get to the big question. This is really like why? Why should we bother with cloud storage? And there's a couple of reasons that might be worth it for us to use. And I say might be because there's like you don't have to use like put your files on the cloud. You don't have to use cloud storage. One thing that I find very nice, and I have a sync.com account, there are some specific documents that once in a while I will refer to in conversation, and I want to be able to have access to them without going to my computer. So they're on my sync.com account. I pull out my phone, I open the app, and I go, oh, here's that PDF I was telling you about. Whoosh, send it over to them. Or, oh, here's the PowerPoint from that talk that I went to. Here you go. And then I don't have to be sure to put it on my phone ahead of time or carry it on a flash drive. I say, oh, I might want this. I throw it on my cloud storage. We're good to go. Another thing is I will oftentimes share folders and files with friends of mine working on projects. Maybe we're working on music or we're putting a party together and we have a guest list and other things. So sharing files, sharing photos, collaborating on documents, these are all really great ways to use cloud storage, even the free tiers. And another thing, this is not such a big deal anymore, but it wasn't that long ago when your phone and your iPad would just run out of storage. They would just you'd be done. You update the operating system, you take a couple pictures, and you're like, "Hey, my phone is full." And we always assumed that that was Apple and Google trying to make us upgrade to give them more money for storage, but the truth is, you either had to delete everything from your phone to make room or pay for storage. Cloud storage is not backup. Oh, I see a little formatting error. Nobody would notice this but me, but I notice it. It's having your files on Dropbox or having your files on Google Drive or sync.com is not really backup. See that what's happening with those is you're synchronizing your files. You're synchronizing from your computer to Google Drive, from Google Drive to your phone, from Google Drive to your laptop. You open up your tablet and you go to the Google Drive. And if you delete it from any one of those places, it deletes it for everybody. So that synchronization is really great when you want to have the latest version. And some of them will even save a couple of versions. Oh, that's the oh, I made an update. Let me go back one. But if you delete it from your computer, something happens and it gets deleted, that delete synchronizes and you lose that file. The other issue is if the computer gets infected, let's say that malware encrypts that with ransomware, well, that also gets synchronized, and now you have the encrypted backup everywhere. The encrypted copy that you actually can't use. So it's not a real backup, but it's better than having it just on your flash drive. At least it's still available. Now, true backup, that's like Backblaze or Carbonite that we talk about. That is a backup that you back everything up. It gives you 30 days or a year's worth of versions. And then if you really have to go back and get your data, you can just get it from them. And you're going to have some sort of a guarantee. Maybe you could not realize that all your files were encrypted and gone, and you could miss it for 6 months. But then I don't know. I don't know if it would go to that problem. You probably would notice within a week or two, and then you could go to Backblaze or go to Carbonite. You could get the old version back and put it on a different laptop. So backup is different than syncing. So here's a big question. Do I even need it at all? Is there any reason that I should bother to put my files on the web? And is it safe? I didn't want to put that on the slide, but is it safe to do that? The answers are going to vary for you. I'd say you probably could use the convenience of cloud storage, and you want to be careful about the safety of it. So let's look. There's a few different services,
Use what?
sync.com. What's that? Okay. Sync.com, fully
You said you
encrypted.
could use something.
Yeah, you might want to use the convenience of your cloud storage to save and share files, but it's not that you need to. So if we look at some of the big ones, sync.com fully encrypted. That means that sync.com cannot read your documents. If somebody were to break into their servers, they couldn't read your documents. Only you can read them. Dropbox, Google Drive, OneDrive, and some of these other providers, they give you a certain amount of free storage. So we were talking about before the recording, Google Drive is giving you 15 gigabytes, and of course, Google Docs and Sheets and Slides. Those are fantastic products, especially if you're going to work together with people. OneDrive gives you 5 gigabytes, and you get some Office 365 integration. I think it's working pretty well now. Office 365. I find the websites are still a little slow using Word Online, but that's just Microsoft, I think. Dropbox is still fantastic for synchronizing across different operating systems, but they don't give you very much for free. So you sort of have to plan on paying them money if you're going to use that. And of course, sync.com is 5 gigabytes. I have a link that will give you 6 if you use it, but that's still not very much. If you don't want to pay anyone, and you probably don't want to pay anyone, we've made it this long since Dropbox came out in 2009. If you haven't been paying for the last 17 years or 16 years, there's no reason to start now. You might want to host it yourself. So that's where we get into what's called the private cloud. A private cloud is not really a cloud. I mean, it kind of is a cloud, but it's not really the cloud the way that Dropbox and Amazon S3 are, or Google Drive. But in this case, you have your own, just a second, Chris, you have your own network attached storage device and your own hard drive, and you connect it to your internet, and you install some software. So you might install software like Nextcloud or C-File or File Browser. Is that, oh, it went off the bottom there. You can't quite, I need a little room on the bottom of that slide, it looks like. So you can run this yourself, and then you get that experience like having Google Docs and having access to your files from all over, but it's limited to how much storage you paid for and whether you updated the software on your Synology drive or whatnot. So sometimes you want to do this. Sometimes it's worth it for you to spend a couple $1,000s on one device one time and have total control of your data. You will know if you need to have total control. For most of us, we're just going to pop over here and use one of these, or probably use all of them. I'm using all of these right now. It's crazy.
Sable, how many of those ecosystems include iOS?
iOS is on all of these.
Okay.
So you can use Google Drive, OneDrive, Dropbox, Sync.com, all on iOS.
Okay. Is there a preferred one if all your goal is to get files from your PC to your phone or and vice versa?
Well, PC, not Mac, right?
I have Windows 10 PC still.
So Google Drive will do that for you just fine. OneDrive will do that for you just fine. All of these will be perfect to go from your iPhone to your Windows machine. But you can also, if you just already have a file on your Windows, on your phone that you want to sync with Windows, you can use the Windows Phone app also and connect them.
It almost seems sacrilegious to install Windows Phone on an iPhone.
You install it on Windows and it
Oh, okay,
connects your
gotcha.
phone. But let's say that you had files on your Windows machine that you wanted to synchronize and access on your phone. Well, you have a Gmail account, you install Google Drive, you drag your files into that folder, and then you're out at dinner and you go, oh, yeah, let me pull that up. You open your phone, you open Google Drive, and it just is there.
Well, right now that's what I do with Dropbox. So
Yeah.
I guess there's if that suits my purpose, then I managed to score a 6 gig deal for free.
Yeah,
Um,
great.
and then I guess I really don't need any of the other ones. I just didn't see iOS, so I was wondering, wow, was Dropbox the only one with an iOS component?
Oh, no, they're all iOS and Android. All of these are.
Okay.
There are a few others out there that are not on everything. They're not on Mac, Windows, iOS, and Android. And if that's better suited for somebody, then we'll just let somebody, use that if there are services that work for you. But I'm trying to show the major ones that are fully inclusive of all the OSs. Do you have any other questions for the YouTube portion of this? Anyone
It's
from the
all
class?
encrypted.
Only sync.com is encrypted. All the other services, the files are not encrypted and they can be read by the provider.
Huh.
So, for example, I was a big Dropbox user in the early days, and Dropbox was very popular at the college I was at. So, it was important during training that I let people know they cannot put any student information on Dropbox. You couldn't have a spreadsheet that had student IDs and names and phone numbers on Dropbox because that was a FERPA violation because Dropbox engineers have access to that. So if the threat model is you're worried about anybody accessing the Dropbox servers and then getting your files, then you don't want to put files on Dropbox unless you encrypt them before you put them on Dropbox, which is something that we also used to do, make an encrypted folder and synchronize that, or encrypt the files manually and synchronize the encrypted files. That's fine because Dropbox is still very fast. It's still very good. Yeah, but if it's mission critical, don't put it on Dropbox for sure. Yes, Alan.
Um, Sable, you may have already answered this question, but where does iDrive fall under this, or does it?
So iDrive is also cloud storage. They have a cloud storage component and some other features, which are pretty compelling. But I didn't put it on this chart just because it wasn't clear that it worked on everything everywhere. And last time I checked, you only got 5 GB for free, but then they
Hmm.
took away the free component. And then there was something you could get for $1 or two, and it was too confusing.
Okay.
So iDrive is a good example of there are more solutions available. And many times tech people have their favorites. Oh, they love this or that. I was an iDrive user for a while. At one point, I might have had something like 15 or 20 gigs for free. And they have some good student prices too.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, if it's working for you, it's great. Okay, anything else for YouTube? If not, I'm going to stop the video and then we can continue questions afterwards.